Welcome to Football Fans in Finance. I'm your host, LEIGHTON ATKINSON, and we start off with our weekend review of the EPL. We look at the game that promised so much but delivered nothing, the Chelsea match versus Man United, and we also recap Leicester's historic win against Arsenal at the Emirates. Kevin, you said that Chelsea would get the victory 2-1, but both you and Lane were wrong. You know, it was a hard-fought 0-0 draw. Did Lampard change up tactics? Did he do anything that you can see as a positive with that match?
So I won't pressure Lampard this week. It was a game where no team wanted to lose, right? So Ole wanted to maintain his momentum by not, putting any pressure on the side by losing. Lampard definitely needed not to lose, right? So he made some tactical changes. He played 3-4-3, and it was a dynamic 3-4-3 where, the two wing backs would form a part of a five-man defense if necessary and, support in the midfield. Initially, in the early part of the game, we controlled the game without being threatening. And I think at the end of the day, I didn't like the changes afterwards. I'm not pressuring Lampard this week, but I think when you remove Timo Werner, you remove Kai Havertz, and you bring in Mason Mount, and you bring in Tammy Abraham, not that I have a problem with the changes, but when you put them into that same system, they won't function so well. So probably you could have, kept Timo on and bring on Tammy Abraham, because United was pressing us at that point. To have a fast player to break out, probably a flick on and so on, that would keep them a little bit on the back foot. So invited a lot of pressure, I think, in the latter part of the game, and I think we were hanging on there. The keeper made some brilliant saves. One in particular where, his vision was impaired and he, went around and touched around the post. But I think the most dominant thing in the game, right? And hold on. VAR, right? VAR is not working. I've said it already on this program, right? So I think we should have had a penalty, right? I don't know what the rest of the panel think, but I think we should have had a penalty, and I cannot believe that went upstairs and the decision was not a penalty, because there's always going to be jostling in the box, right? But I mean, Harry Maguire had Aspilicueta by the neck. I saw an image where Hulk Hogan was on the other side and Harry Maguire on the next, and I was like, wow, Harry's better than Hulk. Maybe he should be in wrestling. So I think the referees got it wrong. I think Lampard was cautious. I appreciated his approach. I think in the end, he was outfoxed in a game of two coaches. Technically, I think Man U's changes were more impactful. But I think I was happy with the result. We didn't lose, right? We kept a clean sheet. That was 2 clean sheets on the throat. So
that's nice.
It's actually good. It's actually a good result. Still not seeing a lot that I want to see from the team, but I see some things coming together. So I won't pressure Lampard much this week. I think it was a game that he didn't want to lose. He didn't lose. He kept a clean sheet. And I think he's beginning to figure out certain things, particularly where the defensive structure is concerned. Still have some players coming in. I mean, Hakeem Ziyech gave us like 10 or 15 minutes, still battling for fitness, but you can see the quality in that player already. So,
all right. Lane, what do you have to say?
Yeah, I mean, very similar to what Kevin would have said. So I think, from Ole's perspective, I wouldn't say he got it right, but definitely didn't get it wrong. I think the end result was probably fair, or if Man U had edged it, I'd say it would be probably fair. The last 25 minutes of the game, was pretty much dominance from Manchester United. I think Ole got it right. Coming out of the PSG game, can't get too excited. You haven't won at home, you haven't gotten a point at home all season, and you need to keep a clean sheet. You haven't kept a clean sheet as yet, so I figured that was very important for him. So he's stuck with Scott McTominay and Fred. No, you would have lost out in the midfield in creativity, but I thought there were areas where he could have used, So you had Dan James, right? And Dan James should never wear another Manchester United jersey.
That's a bit harsh.
A bit harsh. The same Dan James that tore Chelsea apart last season.
He came on and he scored, yes. So that same Dan James, I mean, he's not intelligent. I watched the game and I saw that the players were frustrated with him. Every player, like they don't want pass him the ball, and he's just there running. There's a little football intelligence, and when you have a team where you have, Bruno Fernandes, a Danny Van der Beek, a Paul Pogba, you have Pogba, Van der Beek on the bench, and you see Dan James starting. It irks you. And I remember I said to Danny, I said, I don't necessarily want Van der Beek playing out wide, but if you're going to play Dan James there, play Danny Van der Beek. I know he would have done a better job.
It's the same thing we're talking.
It might not be quick, fast pace or his best game, but it's going to be better than what Dan James does. And I think that was the major issue. And there was no creativity. There was nothing coming from the left wing. Reece James had an easy game, right?
One of the best right backs in Europe, right? Said it here on this program, okay?
Oh boy.
So Reece James had an easy game against Dan James, right? And it was pretty much clear. I think Rashford got a few chances. Marcus Rashford, MBE, got a few chances.
MB on Saturday, right?
MBE, right?
MB on Saturday.
But the keeper, to Chelsea's credit, kept them in the game. I think, the first effort, it definitely needs to be more clinical than that. I would suspect if it were Mason Greenwood, who I think is a more clinical finisher, might have been that we took the lead. But I think the keeper for Chelsea had an excellent game, barring when he almost scored.
So I think that particular chance, I think what happened is that the keeper actually benefited from being far off his line.
Yes.
Because it broke down in transition.
Yeah.
And Jorginho in the midst of it fall and it broke to Rashford. Great ball by Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah.
I think the keeper being off the line helped. It was in the perfect position. I think Rashford would either have to try to chip him. So.
But when I look at it, right, and to be very fair to Marcus Rashford, MBE, the position that he was in.
What is all year?
MB on Saturday, right?
MBE is that when you really look at the position that he's at, and to be fair, to chip the keeper at that height from that distance is difficult. So the keeper is upright, so you say, all right, go low with power, right? And I heard, Michael Owen, who knows a season goal scorer, and pretty much say, well, it's not a bad option him choose to go hard and low, smash it in the corner, right? And as opposed to trying to place it. But another option would have been take an additional touch, get in the box and try to dink it over him. So, unfortunately, I think he took a shot, close to the end. It was unfortunate as well. But all in all, I think if we look over the long term of the season, a point against Chelsea is always a good point, right? In this moment that we're in, given where we are in the table and everything, you definitely would want the 3 points at this point where you just start the league and you have lost your first two home games. You definitely want the 3 points. So I felt good that I left the match, left feeling disappointed because that means we're on the mend. But definitely I think Solskjaer has to be a little more clever with the squad that he uses during the Premier League. I know he has some trust in some players, and some of them he'll get by with in some of the smaller matches. Scott McTominay, but Dan James, to me, I just don't know. I don't know. I think we have to just, we have to be careful.
So I think to sum it up, I think to sum it up a little bit, I think when you looked at the match, it was sort of a case of lost aversion, right? It was where we wanted 3 points both teams, but the alternative of leaving with 0 points would be, I think, a psychological.
Nobody wanted the risk.
To
lose.
So I think at the end of the day, I was comfortable with you obviously you would have wanted the victory, but not losing and keeping a clean sheet. I was good with that.
All right.